This is the thrill. Welcome to the thrill. Giving you something that's real. Tell me how you really feel. Now that you're hearing the thrill. I was all on my own. Now we're looking at it home. Spit this dish up from the dome. I look at we gone, and this is the thrill. Welcome to the thrill. Giving you something that's real. Tell me how you
Oh, what a sweet day, baby. Riding solo today, so it's the return of Felix's Field of View, presented by The Rated F. So what's up, guys? It's been a bit since I rode solo. My colleague and friend Robbie is out, hasn't been feeling good, so best wishes to him to feel better. But while we have you guys all here today, whoever's going to be logging in, I did want to kind of talk about something a little bit different. If you guys have been noticing on the Instagram page, which if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and like and follow any of the posts and our page. Follow it on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. We'll be posting often about what's going on and what we're going to talk about. So yeah, I want to kind of jump right into it as well, because something that holds more near and dear to me, because we are getting into the end of it. It is baseball. I'm a huge baseball fan. Anybody who knows me outside of here, I'm always on talking about it. I'm always watching it. I know my fiance hates me watching it as often as I do because it can drive me a bit crazy, but I love me some MLB. Watch it with my dad, watch it with family. As long as I can remember, I used to skip school to go and catch some opening day games. I do want to talk about it because we are getting close to the end of the season. So when it comes to the end of the season, it does break down the new to the playoffs, which this year they decided to do a little bit of a change. Before they used to just have a one wild card team, and then recently in the last maybe 5 years, they decided to do a 2 wild card team where they face off on a 1 game winner takes all, and then they go to the playoff from there. This year they decided to do a little bit different, which I actually like. It's a little bit different than what I'm used to. The brackets that they're using now is that they're bringing in 3 playoff wild card teams. So in essence, you're getting 6 playoff teams from the National League or the American League team, which was really big because normally, if you guys have follow up with baseball, the rules on there normally you're only seeing about 4, maybe 5 with the newer rules that they had did in the last 5 years. This year, actually getting 6 gives it a little bit more excitement, gives a little bit more of an edge to it because a lot more teams are able to get into it. A lot more teams are willing to, fight for the chance. And excuse the mess in the back. I got the wedding coming up, so I got some stuff going in the back. So you see some things in the background. My apologies. But let's jump into what that looks like right now with baseball. The biggest thing that I definitely love about this new ruling that they did is that they are obviously making it more accessible for teams to jump on, but B, you're getting a lot more advantages to seeing more teams that you probably have never seen before jump in. So like right now, and I'm just gonna kind of go through the list of teams right now who are in it pretty much. You got the Los Angeles Dodgers, which they've been in it the last maybe 15 years now, every year. You got the Cardinals, which looks like they will probably win the division. The Atlanta Braves, and my favorite, I'm a huge Mets fan. So good to see that in the National League. To see them in at least in the East winning that, or at least getting to there. You also have in the American League the Yankees. Looks like they're winning their division. Cleveland, Houston also in it. Now, with that, though, those are normally your guys, the teams that you're seeing that are winning the division. Got other teams that right now also in it. San Diego Padres looks like they're going to be in it with the wild card. Philadelphia Phillies, the Phillies, are going to be in it. Looks like through the wild card as long as this holds up. You also have an American League, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Seattle, which are teams that aren't winning their divisions, and normally you don't win it, you weren't going to be in. If you weren't winning those divisions, you're not getting in. So getting those teams in it gives it a little bit more excitement. And while we're getting all this excitement, seeing all these teams get in, you're also getting a lot more fan base in. You're getting a lot more revenue into it. It's really good. It's really big, especially with that because, um, like I said, big Mets fan. The team hasn't been in so long. Even though now we're winning the division, this is good for the fan base because even if you don't win the division, you looks like you can still get in with the wild card. Um, so those are really big and really big matchups with that. So I can't wait to see once we get set up who's in the division because right now it looks like the East is between the Braves and the Mets, which within maybe the week we should see one of them winning the division. Um, you also have looks like Cleveland about to clinch their division, so some teams that you haven't really seen much in the playoffs. But I also wanted to talk about it's not really breaking news, um, but is a lot of the new rule changes that they ended up doing in MLB. MLB decided to pull it up, and I'm gonna actually up this. So let me clear this out. Brought up three new big rules. You got the 15th, the pitcher timer. So pitchers normally can hold the ball up to a minute if they really wanted to. Now with the new ruling, they're only allowed 15 seconds starting next year. And if there's a runner on base, runners on base, they're going to be able to hold it for 20 seconds. And each batter will be able to get one timeout per at bat. And they are hoping that this would help reduce some of the times. Um, it's not a bad rule. I think sometimes, well, as a fan watching it, the pitchers hold onto the ball way too long before we get them to throw it. And most times they get to pick off way too often. And one thing which I'll bring back up, this doesn't really talk about for the pitchers is that the pitchers also only allowed 3 attempts. Actually, no, I'm sorry, 2 attempts. The third attempt will give them a balk, where the runner will be able to go over to next base. Um, that is huge because for the sport of baseball, where pitchers try to hold a runner on, they pick off maybe about 20 times. You start getting boozed by the fourth time as a pitcher. So this will definitely keep the base paths a little bit more active, and at the same time, the pitchers not having to hold on to the ball so long, hopefully speed up the game, and that's what they're hoping to do is speed up the baseball games. Another rule is that the bases from between first and third base, all three of those bags will be expanded. This rule, I'm not. It's make hey I don't see why they would have to do it. I get they're trying to do for player safety, um, but it's not like the runners are always running into the first baseman's or second baseman's. I think they're more doing it more for second bases because of the slides, the head first slides for steals, trying to help protect them. But I don't see that will make too much of a change on there. But if it's trying to keep these guys safer and hopefully playing more games, then why not give it a shot? I don't think this one really hurts or helps them. This is a pretty decent rule. What I do, and I'm in love with seeing, is that they're getting rid of the dang shift. The damn shift for a lot of these players is ridiculous. Where if you're not too familiar with it, if you take the diamond of the baseball, normally you have first, second, third base, and then a shortstop. They will move the shortstop, the second base, and the first baseman on one side and overload it. And you pretty much have 3 guys on one side, and you leave one fielder on the left, which normally is the third baseman or the shortstop, depending on how they run it. The good thing about that is that you're covering more ground. You get to cover the defense, hopefully get the round ball and get the out. Bad thing about that is that it took away from the game. It took away from athleticism. It allowed a lot of these players to pretty much get a crutch. If they couldn't cover the ball, they positioned them so over that they can get the ball. I'm kind of glad that they're going to get rid of it. I think it was a good one-off rule that the players or coaches were doing. Shout out to, the Marlin coach who did that, and I think it was 06 when they brought that back. If anyone remembers the time frame, go ahead and drop a comment on it. But I don't like to see too much of the overload shift. I'm okay. I played little league. You move them over, you position them in a different way. That's not an issue. Is the issue that we were seeing is that you have too many people on one side of the ball, and the ground ball is not even getting to where it's supposed to go to. So it's and the pitchers weren't pitching where they wanted to pitch, and it's kind of a redundant move. And I'm shocked that most this didn't get killed earlier or faster because of that fact. I think this is better for baseball. You get a lot more players who are gonna a hit the ball, b you're not having to force any of these athleticism that these guys really have and take it away from them. You're actually going to let them play their game. And like a little bit biased right now because I'm a Mets fan, but Francisco Lindor, who's a very athletic shortstop who can cover a lot of ground, you get to see that versus him having to play behind second base and getting those easy ground balls. Now you're going to be able to see those big flashy plays. I miss the web gems that ESPN used to drop. So this is biggest rule out of everything there. I think is the biggest rule is going to be the shift, because it is allowing a lot more action going on. Which as a baseball fan, I know a lot of people's like, oh well, the sport's too slow. They need to speed it up a little bit, and I would love for them to speed it up in a right way, but I just want to make sure that we don't lose the that what baseball really is about. The sport, the action. You know, it's great to see a dive and catch, or I love to see the sliding catch and pop up. So those are really big things. I would love to see us kind of get more into. And with baseball getting rid of some of these rules, I would love and adjusting some of the rules. It would be great to see that continue going forward. Like I said, the bigger bases, I'm not too thrilled about it. It wasn't anything that would make or break our game of baseball, but let's see what this does. Maybe it does protect the players. Um, and then the pitch timer as well. That one's okay. That one's really, it's a good one, not an okay one. It's a good one, because you get to see a lot more of these players pitching. Because there's been a lot of times where they hold the ball, and I'm like, just throw it already right now. Um, Let me know what you guys think on the comments. If you guys feel like this is, rule changes here are great. Uh, I would love to see a little bit more feedback on what you guys think. I think is me personally some rule changes that'll help maybe speed up the game, but also give a little bit more back to that the enthusiasm you have of it, because it's not such a slow paced game anymore. Now you're gonna see a lot more hits, and hopefully, and it's not being so heavy on the defense and focusing. We have to position them here, or this guy's gonna have 400 average. Let's go ahead and let the players dictate the game. They can cover the ground. They can run and field. They can throw. Those are things that are the element that we've gotten away from, and I feel like they're instead of letting the human factor of let either human error win the game or human athleticism win the game. I think we've lost that edge. So this, I think, all of this will help out. And then as we get into the playoffs, I know they're not going to jump into it this year with the playoffs and talk about a lot of the what the brackets are going to look like, or what the rules are going to look like in there. But let's talk about a little bit of the predictions I got. Like I mentioned the teams earlier, I'll bring it back up. We have, looks like the Cardinals about to win the division in Central. It's between the Mets and the Braves to win the division of the East, and the Dodgers winning the West. In the National League, you have the Astros, Yankees, and Cleveland all about solidified their divisions. In the wild cards, as it stands, it's Toronto, Tampa, and Seattle in the AL. And in the National League, we have Atlanta, San Diego, and Philly. So those teams there are great matchups. I think we're going to see. I definitely think Atlanta, defending champs, I think they're going to be in it. My prediction for who's going to be down to, I think it's going to come down to the Mets and the Braves. I think I like what the Dodgers have been doing. They've been a powerhouse all year, but I think eventually their pitching is going to catch up to them in the playoffs. And then I think with the Mets and the Atlanta, they've been steadily. It's a all or nothing type of teams. But especially with Atlanta, they're home run heavy first. Mets, who rely on the base hits and rely on the pitching, I think is going to be a really good matchup on that. Strikeouts versus your pop fly pitchers. In American League, I think is going to go down to the Yankees and Astros, which is very fitting, seeing how those two teams had all those big games and trash can banging. I think it's gonna come down to their pitching. Who's pitching will outlast who. Um, my overall pick, I'm biased. Gonna have to go with the Mets. But I wouldn't be surprised to see if the Yankees or the Astros, whoever goes to the playoffs, I think is definitely going to be a big matchup on the AL side. I'm still kind of torn. I feel like the Yankees are going to edge up. We'd love to see a Subway Series, the World Series again. Hasn't seen that since 2000. So let's see what happens. You guys again, drop your predictions in the bottom. Shoot a comment or any type of so us on Instagram and Twitter. Let us know what you guys think on this. Field of View, guys. I'm glad to see you guys here on it live. Hopefully, we'll see you guys next time.